Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Rebecca and today I am in the kitchen and I am canning peaches. So there are a lot of moving parts going on and happening right now. I've done a lot of prep to get myself ready to actually start canning the peaches. If you saw the rest of the kitchen behind me, you would be appalled at the mess it is. So this is only an illusion. I only appear to be slightly prepared right now. I literally just had 4 burners on my stove, which reminds me I need to turn on another one. So right now I have going, you can see some of the mess behind me. Let's turn this. Okay, right now I have going my canner. I'm going to water bath can my peaches today. So I have the water warming up for that. I have a saucepan full of my lids that are just warming. I have the water for the blanching of the peaches, and then I had my tea kettle going because I wanted to make sure that if I needed to put more water into my water bath, I wasn't introducing cold or just lukewarm water into it because I don't want to bring down the temperature of the water bath. So I think I'm going to take off the tea kettle for now, and I need to get my syrup together. So for my syrup, I have 10 cups of water and 1 cup of sugar, and I'm going to let that reduce down on the stove. I did not want to heavily pack my peaches with a heavy syrup, so I'm just using a very light syrup. I'm hoping that'll be enough. I don't know. I can always make more, and if it's too much, I can always feed my hummingbirds with it. So I'm going to get my syrup on the stove now and get that going because I want to make sure that I'm prepared while I'm doing all this. I'm going to sort of do an assembly line just because there are a lot of moving parts and a lot of steps in this, and I don't want to screw anything up. So I'm going to get my water on the stove and then we'll continue. Like I said, there was a lot of moving parts that I had to get prepared before I even thought about starting to can. So I got together some of the materials that I would need, and then I had to wash and sanitize all of my jars, which I started with sanitizing my sink first, and then I got them all laid out on a clean towel so they could dry a little bit while I was preparing the rest of my materials. It took me forever to find my actual canner. I thought it was in the basement. I haven't used it since we moved in because we've been so busy. I actually found it in my pantry, which took me about 10 minutes to realize. I put my lids in warm water. I did put them on the stove a little bit. I didn't even bring them to a boil at all. I just wanted to make sure that they were not going to stick together. That's why I was putting them like upside down and right side up. And you want to do that just so you can have a nice clean seal on your jars. All right, so I got my syrup on the stove. That is going to just reduce down. I don't want any of the liquid to evaporate, so I'm going to keep a close eye on it. My water for my blanching of my peaches, it's just about hot enough. I'm probably going to turn that off in a sec. But the first thing that I want to do before I blanch my peaches is just give them a quick rinse. I'm not completely cleaning them. I'm not totally worried about that because they're going to be blanched anyways, and then they're going to go into a water bath, just like to shock them, of cold water. So they'll be plenty clean, plus I'm peeling off the skins anyways. But I do just want to give them a quick rinse just to get off any leaves, like this one has a couple leaves on it. So I'll just get those all off, rinse off any debris that might be on them, and then we'll go from there. I was really happy to be canning again. I have not canned in quite some time and didn't can at all last year in our new house just because we were so busy with everything that was going on with remodeling and painting that I just didn't have the time. So I'm really glad I got to take the time today to take these peaches, preserve them at their peak of freshness, and have them to enjoy for me and my family for a long time to come. Now that I have my peaches all cleaned, what I'm going to do is score the bottom of them. I'm going to put an X right through the bottom of this. That's going to help the peel come off of the peach. So I'm just using a paring knife. This happens to be my mother-in-law's knife. She is no longer with us, and unfortunately we didn't meet before I met my husband, but I did know her when I was a child, which is sort of a cool story and a cool memory to have of his mom. But I like being able to use some of her things in the kitchen. So I'm going to score the bottom of these, and then I'm going to place them into the hot water. They're only going to be in there for about a minute. We are not trying to cook them. We are just going to get the skin loosened up off of the peach so that they are easy to peel. And then once they go from the hot water blanching, they're going to a cold water bath to be shocked to stop any sort of warming that was happening while they were in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these in the water after I score them. While I was washing them, there are some peaches in here that definitely need to be used right away. There's going to be some spots that are going to have to be cut off, like this one, for example. The skin started peeling off already because there's a blemish right here. So I am going to have to cut that part off before I put it in the canner, but that's okay. If you have any peaches with blemishes, you can just cut those pieces off. So I'm just going to continue getting these all cut. I think I'm only going to do batches of about 5 because the peaches are really delicate and you want to make sure that you are preserving the quality of the peach while you're doing this. So that's 5 there. They're just going to be in the water bath for about a minute, and then they will go into the cold water to be blanched, or I'm sorry, to be shocked. Alright, so the peaches have been in the water for about a minute. I'm just going to take them out and get them into the ice bath. You can tell some of the skins on the scoring that I did, they're already peeling up. So these are probably going to peel very easily. Skin should come right off. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue this process. Alright, so once the peaches have been in the ice bath, they're going to peel really easily. So once you take the skin off and check for any blemishes, you can then cut them. It's really your preference what you want to do. Do you want to cut them in halves? Do you want to quarter them? This one has a little blemish here that I'm going to cut off. It's up to you. I am going to quarter mine just because I think they're going to fit easier in the jars. That way they'll set a little easier in there. That's what I'm going to do. They're going into water that has a fruit protector in it, just so they don't brown in the process while they're waiting for me to finish this up. I'm going to eat this little piece because why not? See how easily, see the skin is already peeling off of this. Blanching them really, that's really what you're doing this for, is just to get the skin to come off easily. And then I'm not going to waste this skin. I am going to compost this. So I'm actually putting it right into my little compost bin that I keep in my kitchen. And then these will go out and get composted. I did consider making a jelly out of it. But these are not organic peaches, which means that they've probably been sprayed, and I don't want to make jelly out of non-organic peaches. So they aren't going to go to waste though. Peels aren't going to go to waste. They're going to go right into my compost. If I had chickens, I would have absolutely loved to feed the skin to my chickens, but I do not have chickens. My son was trying to convince me the other day that we should get some, which I would absolutely love to. That is definitely something I would love someday. However, I just don't know that that's ever a thing that will happen. But a girl can dream, right? Nothing wrong with that. So I'm just going to continue on with this process. I do not have anything else in my blanching right now because I don't want to forget about them and leave them in too long while I'm going through this process, which is why it's best to do this in stages, right? It can get really overwhelming trying to do all of these things at once, especially if you're like me and have not canned in a very long time. So it's best to just work in stages and batches. There's nothing wrong with that. Take your time. Look at this one. This one's peeling already. These are so beautiful. I just love the color of them. So take your time. I initially wanted to be, I set my alarm for 8 o'clock this morning. I didn't wake up till almost 9. I turned my alarm off. I was not feeling well. I had like a serious bout of allergy problems this morning and had such a bad headache. I even had a headache in my dream that I was having. That's how bad my headache was. So I took my time this morning and took some allergy medicine and some Advil, and I'm feeling much better now. So I think if I wasn't feeling well, I wouldn't have really been up to the task of doing this today. So I'm glad I just took my time. I'm just going to finish peeling the rest of these, and then we can move on to the next step. I can show you what we're going to do next. This is the most perfect, beautiful peach. It's perfectly ripe. A lot of the peaches I have, I think, are a little ripe. And I haven't decided yet. I might be going back to the store. Actually, not the store. I have a little farmer's market literally right up the street from me. It's like a quarter mile away. I might be going back there to get more peaches. I just want to see how many quarts I'm going to get out of this first, but this is literally the perfect peach. I desperately want to take a bite out of it right now, but I'm going to can it. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my jars filled and get the syrup in them, and then get the lids and the caps on. I am just realizing that I'm not using wide mouth jars, which I could have sworn yesterday that when I bought new jars, because I was not prepared with the jars that I already have, that I picked up wide mouth jars. I swore I did, but I did not. Which, if you're going to be canning something like a bigger fruit like this, you're going to want to have a wide mouth jar. My bad, I do not. I thought I did. And my bad for not preparing. So my grandmother canned all the time, and she has a ton of canning jars that she left behind, and me and my mom split them up, and I have a ton of them downstairs. Honestly, I didn't go through them, which I should have, because I would have wide mouth jars to use right now. Instead, I went to the store and I just bought some, which I swore they were wide mouth, but they are not. So anyways, lesson learned, but also not the end of the world. So you want to kind of get them faced down, which is not an easy task to do when you don't have a wide mouth jar. So I'm kind of just sliding them in and hoping for the best. And now that I'm seeing how many peaches are fitting in these jars, I definitely think I'm going to end up making a run to the little farmer's market down the street and making more, because I also want to make a dessert. I feel like I have all these peaches that I'm preserving, and I want to actually be able to enjoy some of them today too. So, which I actually made a peach crisp the other day, and my daughter said it was the best peach crisp she's ever had, but she also said that she's never had another peach crisp before, so I don't know how high the bar is for that. But so I'm just gonna go ahead and keep going along. Yeah, definitely gonna have to go to the farmer's market, but that's okay, it's right up the street, and you never know, I might pick up something else nice while I'm there too. I have my first batch of cans already with peaches in them. I'm kind of all over the place right now. I put all of my syrup into this big measuring cup here. It is very full. I am very much expecting that I am going to spill it when I try to fill my jars. But what you want to do is fill your jars so that there is a 1-inch headspace at the top, and then you want to get all the bubbles out. You can go buy a fancy tool. It actually comes with a lot of like canning jar kits. I didn't buy a kit, but I do have these other things. I have a jar puller and a funnel, which I will be using. But you can go buy a thing that you can go get all the bubbles out with. I have this tool right here. It's like for icing cakes. I actually think this came from, this was actually either my grandmother's or my mother-in-law's. I'm not sure. You can just go right in to the jar like this, move it around, and you're gonna take out any air bubbles that you may have in there. So you don't have to go buy one of those things. If you have a tool like this at home, you want to make sure it's not sharp. You want to make sure it's kind of flimsy so it goes around the peaches and doesn't hurt the quality of them. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these jars filled up, hopefully without making too much of a mess. Okay, now that I have everything filled, it honestly did not go as planned. I knew I was going to make a mess, and I did. I won't show you that part though. But you want to clean the rim of your jars. You do not want there to be any sort of stickiness or moisture on there because you want to get a nice clean seal when you put your lid on. So I'm just taking a paper towel. You can take a clean towel if you want. I'm using a paper towel just to go around the rim of my jar to make sure there's nothing on there that's going to hinder getting a nice good seal when I put these in the water bath. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to take your lids that I have warmed. You can also go buy a really cool lid thing, which I honestly think I might like to do. You're going to put your lid on top, and then you're going to put your cover on. Just finger tight. You don't want to close it too tight. So we're just going to go ahead and do this for the rest of the jars. If you guys don't have a fancy bubble remover or something that you can use as a makeshift, literally, this works. Shake the bubbles out. That's all you got to do. Doesn't require a fancy tool. Okay, my water bath water is finally boiling again. It seemed to take a really long time to get up to boil. So I'm going to go ahead, throw my jars in there right now and lower them in the water, set a timer, and while that's happening, I'm just going to keep going. I have some more peaches in my pot right now, and then I have other ones that are sitting in my water bath over here. So I'm just going to keep going with the process. I'm back. Whole new container of peaches, which means I'm starting the process over again, which also means I need more jars. So I have to go down to my basement, go through the jars that I have, get them washed and sanitized, and start all over. But honestly, I have all this stuff out right now. I'm not going to want to get it out again in a week or two, so I might as well just do it while I have it all out, because not long from now there's going to be apples that I'm going to want to go pick and harvest and make applesauce out of and jar the applesauce. So I might as well do it while I have the time. So here I go again. These peaches were in the water bath for half an hour, and now they're going to sit until they are completely cooled, and then you're going to make sure that all of your jars have sealed. If not, throw them back in the water bath and make sure that they are properly sealed. I'm so glad you guys hung out with me today. I've never canned peaches before. This was a first for me. I had a great time. I definitely will be doing this again, and I've learned a couple things along the way, including this is very sticky, and get yourself an apron so you don't mess up your clothes. Had a great time. Thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos, and I will see you guys next time.